my famous friends, and welcome to Fame Ready, the podcast to show you that anything is possible. Yes, including fame, including brand partnerships, including receiving like 5-figure paychecks to simply show up, integrate a brand into your personal brand, into your revenue streams, into the work that you do, your storytelling. And that's what we're talking about today, okay? Because this is a hot topic in my community right now. I started using threads again, okay? Not like the like facial threads, although that's something I'm interested in, the whole like lifting with the threads. The threads that I've dove back into is the social media app. And yesterday I was tagged in a post all about this particular topic about brand partnerships and how to secure them as a personal brand without being an influencer, without being mistaken for an influencer. Because if you're a personal brand, I mean, you've heard me talk about this before, being an influencer and being a personal brand are so not the same things. We can chat a little bit more about that later today in this episode, not like so much later, but I just want to first say, like, I'm really happy to be here with you all. I didn't know if I was going to make it. These like last few weeks of December, killing me. Okay. And I'm very grateful for like the sheer volume of opportunities, of interest, of people that want to chat with me, work with me, hire me, all of the things. Talk to me. But your girl's tired. And I think I told you guys a couple episodes ago, I got one of these fancy ultra human rings. Okay. Not sponsored yet, but we'll see after this episode. I've already got a little bit of an idea there. So I got one of these ultra human rings and I've had it for just over a week now. And like this little ring has actually changed so much for me. I know that sounds insane, but I do really great with like an accountability buddy. And so this ring, it's like the Aura ring, so it tracks all of your like sleep data, movement, your body temperature, your heart rate, your resting heart rate, all of the things. And so yesterday was like any other day, except for the fact that I was running a little bit of a flex there, a paid masterclass on behalf of Adobe Acrobat. 600 people had signed up, not that many people came live. We were more like 150 live in the room, but I'm really excited for everybody to catch that replay. It's through the organization Creative Mornings, which is a very, very big creative institution that puts on different networking events for creatives literally across the globe, which is really cool. So if you're listening to this because of the Creative Morning session, hi, I'm so happy to be connected with you. And I'm so glad you found me. Clearly it was for a reason. So I was doing that yesterday and I had woke up with like this headache. And if you are familiar with me and my headache journey, you'll know that I get them. Not that often, but like once every 2 months, I'm going to have one that takes me out. And the only problem is I cannot be taken out right now. I know I need to be winding down for the holidays, but every single day has still been really busy with coaching calls, onboarding new clients. I mean, even today I'm heading into Vancouver this afternoon to do an in-person onboarding session with a client and their team. It's a one-on-one client. So they've got a team that's involved in their personal branding strategy and all of that. But I was like, oh my God, I cannot wake up with this headache. But I had it. I did my session. You would never be able to tell that I had a raging headache during the whole thing. That's my strength. Can really like put the mask on when I need to. And then I did a coaching call after that. And then I was like, I'll just go to the gym. I'll just go to the gym. It's pouring rain. So I'll go to the gym and then I'll use the sauna. Because my gym, honestly, has like a little sauna cold plunge situation too. And that's pretty cool. So I was like, okay, perfect. That's what I'm going to do. That's what's going to make me feel better. I'm going to sweat out the headache. So I did that. And lo and behold, it made the headache so much worse. And so I'd finally had enough. And I was like looking at my data on the Ultra Human app. And I was like, there's got to be a message in here. Like there has to be a message between all of these stats, even though my sleep looks really good, even though like I moved today, there's got to be some sort of underlying message within like some of the changes, the variabilities between like my body temperature, maybe my sleep pattern. So I did something fucking cool. Okay. I took all that data, I took the screenshots of the data from the day and then from the week. And then I went over to ChatGPT and then like told chat a little bit about how I was feeling, my situation when the headache started. And it basically unpacked all of the data and like it was like, yeah, based on your heart rate variability and your sleeping patterns, like you are burnt out and you're not sick, you don't have a flu, you're not inflamed, you're not dehydrated. You are literally like overstimulated. Like your nervous system is crashing out. And I was like, yeah, I guess I didn't need a ring to tell me that, but like, uh-huh. And so it was like, hey, like you've got a tension headache. It's because your nervous system is like on the brink of collapse. So maybe take it easy for the rest of the day. So that's what I did. I like had a really nice evening. It actually even chat gave me some examples of like some food I should eat to like ground myself. It recommended oatmeal. I'm like, I never eat oatmeal, but sure. So I did that. I was feeling a little bit better by the time I went to sleep. And then I woke up this morning and I mean, even still, I have a little bit of this headache, but I am feeling better. So I don't know, not sponsored yet, but I'm a big believer in this wearable tech, not because I think I'm like that unhealthy, but I actually think that that's why I have it because I consider myself to be a very healthy person. Relatively speaking, I mean, I still eat junk food. I'll still eat some fast food. Like I don't go to the gym every single day, but I do have very healthy habits. I have very healthy habits with tech and my business and boundaries, have all of those things. And I actually think that that's when burnout or nervous system collapse actually really sneaks up on us. I guess that's what burnout is, like your nervous system collapsing. And I think investing the $500 into this ring has actually been really powerful because now I have a greater sense of like, okay, how you're running your business right now isn't working and you've got to make some changes. And lo and behold, 2026 is upon us. So the perfect time for a little reset and getting back at it in the new year, but in a way that's more sustainable because I've been able to see just how much stress all of the amazing things I'm lucky to do puts on my body because stress isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? Like stress can also be excitement and just like the overstimulation. So I experience a lot of that throughout the days because I go so many places. I talk to so many people on Zoom calls. I do all of the things. And I've always known that to be draining. But now I've got a greater sense of it all. And if I'm even thinking back to last Friday, I had a little bit of a headache back then. And so I think I've been dealing with this like low grade burnout situation for almost a week now, which tracks based on how much I've been trying to do. So, anyways, um, yeah, if you're looking for something to add to your Christmas list, I would get one of these rings. Just my 2 cents. But let's dive into the content of today's podcast episode because now that I'm feeling a little bit better, this is such a good time to talk about brand partnerships and how you can start getting them for your personal brand. Because when you want to receive brand partnerships for you as a business owner, as a personal brand, it's not because you're going to start showing up like an influencer. Okay. This is what everyone gets wrong. People think, oh, a brand partnership must mean that I'm doing like an unboxing on camera, that I am doing these like video ads where I'm just like pushing product. No, that is not how you integrate a brand partnership into your personal brand. Because if you're a personal brand, you have your own revenue streams that you're trying to drive revenue to, right? So if you're a personal brand, you have maybe your coaching or consulting business, maybe any other business that you're the founder of. You might also have your podcast. Maybe you run events. Yeah, you likely have a social media following, but you also have maybe a Substack or a podcast. Did I say that yet? I can't remember. Maybe you have a blog that gets a lot of traffic. As a personal brand, you have revenue streams that you can monetize, especially if you start working with some of these larger corporate brands that are actually looking for people like you. But let me talk a little bit about what this actually looks like and what you need, and I'll give you some examples from my own business. Yeah, I'm gonna pull back the curtain on some of my brand partnerships because there's three that I have. So I've done fully executed on 2. Both of those 2 partnerships are ongoing. So these are sponsors I can continue to tap on for future events, but then also um, like sponsoring this podcast, sponsoring content, sponsoring masterclasses, as you've seen. And then I've just put together a contract for a brand new one. So I can't announce who that is on this, but you'll find out shortly in the next couple months at least. So super cool. So let's talk about what this actually looks like. So obviously, like I've just described, you don't need to be an influencer. You need to be a personal brand with revenue streams. And this is because the brands that you are going to target, they aren't brands that like have a product that they want you to push. Okay. Like, I mean, sure, if you are a personal brand in a space where products and equipment is important, then I'm thinking about a particular client of mine who just messaged this morning saying that she's got a new brand deal in the works. She works in a very particular sporting industry. So obviously equipment is important to what she does. When I think about my business, I mean, there have been a couple plugs that I've given to product in the past that I've collabed with, but I'm really not interested in like showing up and doing like, hey, here's my fit check, all sponsored by X, Y, and Z. Yeah, if a brand wants to like sponsor my look for a speaking gig, that's very different, right? Because sure, there's probably a piece of content that's included in that, but I'm not over here doing like an Abercrombie haul just for the sake of like showing you what's new on their website. Say, okay, this is a great example to just kind of riff off of. So say Abercrombie taps me and they're like, hey, actually, we'd love to sponsor your outfit for an upcoming speaking gig. What does that look like? So for me, it would be picking out an outfit that feels representative of my personal brand that I want to wear on stage to a particular event, integrating Abercrombie as like part of the story for that speaking gig. Okay. So think about some of these like documentary style commercials where it's like let's just set the stage. And I don't know why I picked Abercrombie. I don't wear that much Abercrombie, but say it's like I start to put together like some Instagram stories as part of the deliverables. And maybe I like wake up the day of my speaking gig and I record me like actually getting ready. And maybe I have maybe the angle is, well, how do I show up confidently on stage? Well, it's all part of the outfit. And, what better partner than to have Abercrombie, who is designing clothes for women like me, entrepreneurs that need to speak on stage at 11 a.m., go to a lunch at 2 p.m., and then go to a networking happy hour at 4. Like, this is the perfect outfit because it can take me through all of these different events and activations while still making sure I look cute and on brand. So those are like Instagram stories I would probably integrate. Maybe I highlight like a couple things I like about my outfit. Maybe I story tell why I chose this particular outfit for this particular event. So an example, I'm speaking at an event in late February called Billion Dollar Vision. Actually, I'll drop the link in the show notes. There's still time to use my promo code if you want to come to Madison, Wisconsin with me and see me speak alongside Jen Gottlieb, Cassandra Britton. Like, oh, it's going to be a fabulous time. But that event, that dress code is like furs and like luxe winter vibes, kind of mob wife style. So I could explain if Abercrombie like had a line that kind of complemented this. I could explain like this is why I went with Abercrombie's new line. It really, really feels on brand for Billion Dollar Vision because it's so luxe. Look at this faux fur. And so do you see how I'm not just pushing product? It's becoming part of my story and it's still on brand for me. That is the most important part. But let's not get it confused because I saw something on Threads yesterday, which was someone chatting about how she uses the email marketing platform Flowdesk. And I mean, don't we all? Okay. Not to be a dick, but so many of the female entrepreneurs I know use Flowdesk as their email marketing provider. Flowdesk has amazing brand awareness in this entrepreneurial community. Now, I don't want to act like I know this person's audience and who she actually markets to, because while I know her, we're connected, I don't know the inner workings of her business. I'm just assuming because when I look from when I take like a 8,000 view top-down look at her brand and business, I'm like, Flowdesk doesn't need you to be a brand partner because they're gonna feel like they already have great awareness among your audience. The brand partners that you wanna look for are brands that actually aren't actively targeting your audience yet, okay? So, um, if we go back to the example of Abercrombie, God, Abercrombie, you better sponsor this after I do this full freaking episode on you, okay? That would be the freaking, like, that would be the comeback story of the year, wouldn't it? So anyways, let's go back to this Abercrombie example because it's such a good kind of working case study to go from. So say Abercrombie is wanting to build more brand awareness around female entrepreneurs who are working professionals who want to look cute but still like give off professional vibe. It's like event clothes that look good on camera, but you know, they aren't uncomfortable because we have to be wearing them all day. So if Abercrombie was actively trying to target my specific demographic and who my audience is, that's when they would identify me as a really strong brand partner, right? Because they're trying to break into this different audience. So let's talk about for a second some of the brand partners I have, Adobe Acrobat being one and selfpublishing.com being the other. Both of these brands are not necessarily like a Flowdesk or a Riverside, which is what I'm recording this podcast on right now. When we think about these softwares, or like, let's talk about software for a second, because that's what people default to. These software don't necessarily need you unless you can provide a different use case for their business. So that's the work that I do with Adobe Acrobat, because Adobe Acrobat is adding a lot of features from Adobe Acrobat Studio. They have PDF spaces, they have an AI assistant, and they lean on me to integrate those features into my personal brand. So when I'm creating content for them or working them into my masterclass, like tomorrow's red carpet year, link in the show notes if you actually want to sign up and make sure you catch that, you will actually see exactly how I integrate Adobe into this work that I do. So if you're interested in just like kind of being an observer of that, that's probably a great masterclass for you to go to. So when I work with Adobe Acrobat, it's to like show them how, hey, here's a great use case on how a business owner like me could actually use these features. So when I create content for them, it's not content that maybe they've even thought of, because now they're bringing their platform to me and saying, how would you use this? What do you want out of this? How could your clients use this? And that's what I create content off of. So then that starts to bring awareness for these new features to my audience. Okay. So they are buying into my audience, but it's also actually helping them do their market research too, which is very, very cool. So that's my working relationship with Adobe Acrobat. I'm going to be creating some more content for them in 2026 too. And for me, it's always integrating into like the personal branding and PR stuff. Okay. It's not like I just talk about the features in isolation. I'm always relating it back to my business. And the same goes for selfpublishing.com. Okay. So selfpublishing.com was not a brand that I was actually familiar with until I met their reps at a conference. And then at that conference was when I decided to write my book with them, but so did two of my clients. And so that made it really easy for me to say to them, hey, I think there's a deeper relationship here. Obviously, if two of my clients plus myself are very interested in your high ticket offer, because their offer is high ticket, um, then they were like, yeah, okay, this makes sense for a brand partnership with you. And obviously it made sense for my event. So you would have seen me through October. They sponsored Big Brand Energy Sessions. And then I also ran a webinar with them as well. So all of those things were part of our brand partnership. So I made a lucrative amount of money through working with them as well, and will continue to also, because they really liked the results that they derived from working with me. And that's what we'll continue on to doing in 2026 as well. And then that brings me to my next example, which is the one that I told you I can't share all the details about yet. But this is when, okay, I was just talking about this on Instagram this morning, because my clients can get a little bit frustrated with me, especially new clients, because I think when this is like the biggest misconception. People think when they start working with me on PR, I'm going to tell them something that they haven't heard before, which is Yeah, instead of focusing on your content, let's like come over here and work on like finding opportunities, sourcing opportunities, pitching. No, absolutely not. I will not. I am like the gatekeeper. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I didn't realize I'd ever say that before, given that I'm like anti PR agency gatekeeping. But I am the gatekeeper of when you are ready to actually invest your time and money into pitching, into publications, into a higher level of investment when it comes to PR, okay? Because I do not want you to waste your hard earned money. So, this is where my clients get a little bit frustrated because a lot of the time they want to pitch to speaking gigs. They want to do all of the pitching, they want to do the outreach. And I'm like, no, your content isn't there yet. And if your content isn't there yet, pitching and doing more outreach is just going to be a waste of time because when these people go to look at your profile, your assets, your website, they're going to be like, "Why should I work with you?" If you can like just like every day wake up and say, how can I make my personal brand the best damn personal brand in my niche, in my industry? How can I continue to show up for myself on my own media channels? If you wake up every day with that attitude, you're going to see opportunities effortlessly come to you. You're not even going to need to pitch. I don't do any pitching. I only do like really soft relational pitching. And this little example is going to tell you why. Okay, so earlier this week, I had this phone call with a brand rep. And so the initial point of this phone call was actually for me to buy their product. Okay. So it was an introduction. The brand rep calls me and he immediately starts going on this spiel about how he loves my website. He thinks the work that I do is so interesting. He compared me to flip Jillian Harris. Okay. And he was saying, your content really reminds me of a Jillian Harris, who's someone that we've worked with before. You know, I think there's a lot of opportunity for partnership here. We'd love to sponsor your next speaking gig. And that all came before I even purchased the product. But that's when I took my sign to pitch. And I said, hey, yeah, you know what? Here's all of the ways I can see my brand really aligning with yours. And here's why my audience is a great fit for this. And, I'm running a couple events in 2026 and we can kind of integrate a partnership into my content, my podcast, and my events. So would you like me to put something together? And he was like, yes. And there I was. You can tell why I'm burnt out because these things just keep happening to me. And I'm like, whoo, okay, next one. And so then there I am putting together a contract with this really big brand that if you are based in North America, but even likely, like if you're based somewhere around the globe, you've heard of this brand. So when you see me start working with them, you're going to know why. Okay. So that's how it happens. And it was through this person, like doing a little bit of research on me before we even got on the call, where he was already like, oh, there's some great ways to work with her. And then there was. But that brings me to my next point. You need to have monetizable. That word gets me every time. You need to have monetizable assets. Okay. So this is one of the biggest difference between showing up as an influencer versus showing up as a personal brand. If you're an influencer, you likely just have your social media platforms to monetize. In the past, you may have also had a blog. I'm not really seeing blogs as being this massive asset to brands these days, but they were at one point. Maybe that's something you could like put into a package though. But when it comes to working with brands as a personal brand, you have to have more than just your social media platform. Okay. So for me, I was able to secure all of these brand partnerships, not just because I was going to do a post on social media, but because I was also giving them exposure at an in-person event. For some of these, I also added in like virtual touch points, so webinars. So for my audience that wasn't with me in person, there was still like a virtual experience. Obviously, this podcast becomes part of that. And then sponsored speaking gigs is also something that I'm starting to do more and more of. So this is when a brand will actually partner with me and send me to speak on their behalf. So a lot of times these big brands have connections at large events with organizations where they're looking for speakers, but the brand still wants to be represented in some way. So the brand might get a speaker slot and then they're like, okay, who can we actually pull from like our brand ambassadors or from these partners that we work with who could actually speak to this audience, work the product or whatever it is into their talk, but the talk is still relatively about the work that you do. Okay. That's kind of like what I did for Creative Mornings on my talk yesterday. So Adobe paid me to do that opportunity. I love the transparency on this podcast. So Adobe paid me to do that. And what it was me and my brand kind of talking about visibility planning, working on, okay, here's how you build out your personal brand. Here's what it looks like to integrate PR. And then here's how I use Adobe Acrobat Studio to actually like make this so much easier. So that was the whole point of that. And when I tell you it hit. Everyone was so happy about how I spoke about the brand, but also how I made it feel really cohesive. So that's kind of how it's done. So that's what you need. You need to have more than just you and you creating social media content from the comfort of your own home. That's why I say personal brands and influencers are so different, and the way that you work with brands is very different. And this brings me to another point, because a lot of times personal brands get stuck in like the affiliate marketing program with these brands. And so when that happens, you're like an affiliate and maybe you make a small amount of money every time you push their product and get someone to buy, but you're not getting these like larger brand partnerships because you're actually in the wrong department. And this happens a lot. There are a couple brands that even this has happened to me where it's like my contact is in the affiliate department. And I'm like, ugh, I need to not have this affiliate contact. I need to have a contact in like brand partnerships, on their marketing team, their community team. So it's different. So if you're listening to this and you're like, this is me, I keep getting stuck in the affiliate program when I want to be a deeper brand partner, you've got the wrong contact. So the best way to obviously find these contacts is through LinkedIn. Then again, if you're going to be pitching these contacts on LinkedIn, please make sure you are you have a solid LinkedIn presence. Okay. Not to flex, but to flex. My LinkedIn audience is almost, well, by the time that this recording comes out, it will have already surpassed this, but over 1,500 followers on LinkedIn. And I've been grinding to really like grow that platform and that audience. And I mean, some really great opportunities have come through that platform for me. So yay. So 3 cheers to LinkedIn. So if you want more brand partnerships, you got to be over there, have a bit of a presence. So if you do start trying to track down the community manager, brand partnership manager, influencer manager, like those are the job titles you want to look for. But please make sure you're coming correct and have that brand presence dialed in before you just pitch them. Okay. So that's really what you're looking for. You've got to have monetizable assets. You've got to have a solid brand presence. You've got to be talking to the right person. And that's when these brand partnerships can really come to fruition. But the most important thing, and this is where people get stuck, is you got to ask. You got to be willing to like just put it out there and see what people say. So, what's really cool about my partnership with Adobe is now that we've worked together a couple times, I can like pitch them on ideas I have too. So, for example, for this masterclass red carpet year, I was thinking to myself, like, I'm obviously going to be referencing an AI tool in this masterclass. So if I pitch it to Adobe, then that means I can be paid to run this masterclass. And then that also takes off the pressure of me having to sell on the back end. Obviously, I will sell my program at the end of my masterclass. I would be a true idiot not to. But like I don't have to use the same structure, because like let's be honest, there is a webinar structure, masterclass structure that people like to use to ensure that they sell. I can just do this however I want to. Okay. And I just know like regardless, I'm still getting a healthy paycheck for my time. Any clients that come in from that masterclass is just bonus. And I think that's a really great place to be in. And I know for a fact, so many of you that are listening to this that are personal brands that use all of these different softwares, like there are platforms that you probably talk about in your work with clients, in your masterclasses, in your workshops. So I would encourage you to see if you can get paid for that integration. But here's something really important to remember, because this is happening to one of the clients inside the Fame Ready Entrepreneur Program right now. So she works with a lot of different tools and software, and she told me that she's nervous about, like, in her social media content, talking poorly or giving back, telling people which programs she doesn't like, because what if that program or that software or that brand wanted to work with her in the future? And you can't let, like, the what ifs, like, muzzle you. Ooh, what a good quote. You cannot let the what ifs muzzle you, okay? And I actually have learned this the hard way this entire year. There have been so many times where I was like, if I say this, what if I lose the opportunity? If I post this content, what if I lose this? You can't operate that way. If you are watering your work, your message, what you want to say down because of the what if a brand wants to work with me and they're offended by this, or what if an event wants to hire me as a speaker and they're offended by this, then that's not your people. Okay. Like, to be honest, when I was at Adobe Max in October, I was shown a particular feature and asked for my feedback on it. And I gave my honest feedback because there was something that was missing from it. And it was a really big something to me. And I didn't feel, not that I said this publicly on a platform, but I felt empowered to say it to the people I was in the room with. Like, hey, this is what would need to change to actually make this viable for my audience. And so don't let the, like, fears of critiquing, and, like, obviously you're not going to do it in a mean way, right? Because we're talking about, like, building a serious personal brand, right? So it's not like you're going on the internet and, like, lighting everything on fire and saying everything sucks, okay? Like, this is you showing up on social media, giving your honest feedback about different programs, different platforms, which ones you like, which ones might be lacking. It's okay to feel like platforms are lacking, because honestly, that could actually incite the platform to be like, hey, really insightful. We'd love to work with you on this to see how we can actually make this a home run. Oftentimes, it's like in these moments where we are a little bit more polarizing. Oh my God, polarizing. It's in those moments that we actually catch the eye and the curiosity of people that want to work with us, instead of just being goddamn people pleasers all the time. Okay. Coming from a recovering people pleaser. So that's one thing to be really aware of too. Like, don't water yourself down because you think it's going to prevent you from getting a particular opportunity. Because if you have to water yourself down for that opportunity, it's not the right one for you, anyways. Right? Right. Okay. Okay, I'm so glad we had this talk. Okay, so I feel like that really rounds this all out, right? Like, I'm hoping now you feel really empowered to take a look at all of the assets that you have and start to understand how you can actually monetize them, but also, like, thinking outside of the box, right? Because the brands that you, like, think are the obvious choice for working with you probably aren't the right ones to work with you. It's starting to think outside the box and, like, think about your personal brand as more than just like a one dimensional, like one lane kind of thing. It's like there are so many brands that impact you on a daily basis, that impact the choices you make, that impact the life that you live. We can take this full circle. And if I talk about this ultra human ring, it's like, you know, because as I'm recording this, I actually have a DM from someone who's asking me if I have a link. And I'm like, no, but I should, because look at how much this is changing the game for me, who I certainly don't classify myself as an athlete, but I do need elite performance every single day. And if I get taken out by burnout, that's bad. That really impacts my revenue. It impacts my profitability. So after this, I'm going to go find out who I can pitch at Ultra Human for a little bit of a brand partnership there, because that's when you can start to, like, think outside of the box and start to bring different brand partners on board in different capacities. It's not this, like, it's not what's the most obvious choice. Okay. It really isn't. Like, I'm talking into a Shure microphone right now. Sure. Could I ask Shure for, like, an affiliate link? Yeah. But, like, to me, this would feel like very product placement-y, whereas, like, I wanna work with brands where it feels like a larger integration into, like, what I do and the stories I tell and how I actually live my life as an entrepreneur, as a high-performing entrepreneur. So I hope you loved this episode. If you did, and you're like, okay, Katrina, I'm ready to actually activate on this in 2026. Fucking good. Okay. Because one of my Fame Ready entrepreneurs, she posted in the program this morning to say that she's just landed a major brand partner. This is someone who has been in the program for just 2 months, but she's been working on her content. She comes to every single weekly coaching call. She does the homework. She invests into other service providers that can help her show up as the iconic personal brand that I know she is and that she knows she is. So it's not a surprise to me that she has this brand literally foaming at the mouth wanting to work with her. If you want results like that, you can join the Fame Ready Entrepreneur Program, which is my 12-month group program. Okay, the link is in the show notes. If you are listening to this and you're like, but I want to go deeper, okay, I have something for you. So inside the Fame Ready Entrepreneur Program, I haven't publicly launched this yet. I've only sent out this exclusive invite to people that I think are a fit. It is a hybrid group one-on-one program inside Fame Ready where we're going to work together on a 12-month basis to really help you monetize your personal brand. So the Fame Ready Entrepreneur Program is the place that you go to learn what you need to build a press ready personal brand, how you can start securing press opportunities. There are podcast events, media opportunities that you can pitch to on a weekly basis. I do weekly hot seat coaching calls and bring in guest experts to do hot seat coaching on a weekly basis as well. So there's so much you can learn over there. But when you want to start ramping things up, if this is work that you're really serious about doing and you're like, listen, by the end of 2026, I want to feel like I've properly monetized my personal brand through my podcast, my events, my speaking, you need to get into the VIP program. Okay. In the VIP program, we're doing quarterly planning sessions. So these are small group with just the VIPs where every quarter I'm going to give everybody a very specific plan on what they need to work on to bring this monetization to life. Okay. And in between all of that, you also get Telegram access to me twice per week. So that is so I can help you actually maintain momentum, because as you start pitching brands, there's going to be negotiations, or you're going to have trouble finding a contact, or you might get offered something and you're like, how do I make this fit? You are going to need to have me in your pocket to kind of keep the momentum going, to have this whole thing evolve so you can really just really see yourself as a true profitable personal brand ecosystem. I built mine in 12 months and I didn't even think that this is where I would be in a year, but here I am and it's so great. So now I want to help you do the same. I know the strategy. I know what you need to do. The Fame Ready entrepreneurs are already seeing this for themselves. So imagine what would happen if you had even closer proximity to me. Pure fucking magic. That's what would happen. So if you're interested in the VIP tier, okay, if you're listening to this before December 31st, 2025, that information is entirely private. You're going to have to send me a DM on Instagram to get the details. So just send me a DM and say, hey, I was listening to the podcast and I want details on this VIP program, and I'll send them to you. You can find me on Instagram at Katrina Owens PR. You can also follow the podcast at Get Fame Ready. All of the links from today are in the show notes if you want to learn more about building this all out on red carpet year. The link to that masterclass is in the show notes. If you're watching this after it's been live, you can still register, get the replay, and give it a watch. And yeah, you guys, I'm really excited for 2026. I think it's going to be an incredible year. I think my headache's also gone now, which is incredible. So if you liked this podcast episode, I was getting really great feedback on the podcast from someone this week, but I need you to go to Apple, to go to Spotify, leave me a review and a 5-star rating if you love this podcast, if you're getting so many good tips, because that's what's going to help more people like you that deserve brand partnerships, that deserve paid speaking opportunities, that deserve all the things. That's how they're going to find this episode too. So please rate and review wherever you listen to podcasts, and I'll see you all next week. Okay? Toodles.